Okay, so I'm ready for the next part of a far more frightening work than any of the nightmare novels of George Orwell, with the logic, which is the great instrument of French thought. Let's explore and attempt to prove the thesis that propaganda is destructive to democracy and the most serious threat to humanity operating in the modern world. Because humanity is a dual species, they have male and female. So, with using technology in a nightmare fashion to make us all the proper gender is not right. It's a threat to our species, greater than any others. So, page 56, 54, I think I left off. Alright, now we're going to talk about intentions and interpretations. Screenshot so you can follow it. Maybe a different window. If you're on a desktop, that is. This is the real realm of the lie, but it is exactly here. So intentions and interpretations is the real realm of the lie. That's why they say Jesus Christ is the truth and the way, because he will purify your intentions and interpretations from the system of things. But if you don't seek it as an individual, but you seek it as a group child and go to the churches, then you will still be deceived in the real realm of the lie. But it is exactly here in the intentions and interpretations that it cannot be detected. Voila. Hence the solution is a terrorist threat, just like we learned in Waco in the 90s, which was the end of Christian America, in my observation. The rest were the 501c church mobs fighting against silly stuff like same-sex marriage, and even abortion is not that big a thing, but same-sex marriage was such a minor thing. And gay rights or drugs, they were relatively minor compared to the real issues, which these Christians never touched. Like they should have. If one falsifies a fact, one may be confronted with unquestionable proof to the contrary. But no proof can be furnished where motivations or intentions are concerned, or interpretation of a fact is involved. That's why I got in trouble with the club, because I started attacking people for their values, their motivations and intentions. That was a big no-no. They threatened to call the cops on me right then. Oh man. A fact has different significance depending on whether it is analyzed by a bourgeois economist or a Soviet economist, a liberal historian, a Christian historian, or a Marxist historian. So the facts differ for different people. The difference is even greater when a phenomenon created deliberately by propaganda is involved. So propaganda, because its aim is to manipulate the masses, Therefore, the differences are exaggerated in the interpretation of the phenomena, which is a divide and conquer shitstorm we see all around us. How can one suspect a man who talks peace of having the opposite intent without incurring the wrath of public opinion? That's kind of like what Donald Trump kind of represents in California, where he's just talking about bringing the troops home, understanding the opposite gender, but they just for speaking the facts, which are unpopular, he incurs the wrath of public opinion, because these facts are contradicted by the lies of the communists. They're twisted facts, which create confusion in the minds of men. So, and if the same man starts a war, he can always say that the others forced it on him, that events prove stronger than his intentions. Huh. Oh, okay, yeah. So, man who's talking about peace, those people at the club, they were talking about peace and light and all this bullshit. Satanist mumbo jumbo, of course, but most people can't see that. So I had to incur the wrath of public opinion, I guess. But now they're wearing their masks and walking around all proud of being soldiers in this war, the medical tyranny on the people. And they're talking about BLM and all the riots. They're all for that shit. But when they came in, they were all like, we're so peaceful. We're so loving. We just want to help you guys become more professional and more pizzazz. Anyway, that shows you chasing the worldly sense objects, what it leads to: utter madness and destruction. Now they call themselves the Guts Club. So they think from below the belt. Oh man, I think it was fifth grade or fourth grade or sixth grade when I realized that we have men at least have two brains, one below the belt and one above the belt. And anyway, I don't think one is inferior than the other, but I don't think most people, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should have thought more about below the belt too. Should have used the below the belt thinking sometimes more often. But I don't know. Like they say in this book, a man can only think and a man can only act. And when you're a lone, isolated individual, then your actions have far more dangerous consequences than your thoughts. So I guess I always preferred it. Thought it's smarter to remain in the realm of thought. The Guts Club. Oh, man. and the brain, plotting destruction and chaos. On these simple-minded thoughts that got us all involved in evil plots and got half the population addicted to pot because the war don't stop, because Jezebel wants to stay on top. Time to throw it to the flow. You know how we do it over here. So gotta smoke the bitch within, because that's how it begins. Speaking words through the wind, getting captured by the microphone within, the machine. And then I'm gonna relay it through the airways so I can make another scene. This is not Blue Dream, I don't know the name. That's how I like it in the dope game. Feels like some sativa, man. Mouth freshener. A breath mint for the lungs and shit. We forget that between 36 and 39, Hitler made many speeches about his desire for peace, for the peaceful settlement of all problems, for conferences. He never expressed an explicit desire for war. Naturally, he was arming because of encirclement, which is a specific phrase. I guess he was being encircled. And in fact, he did manage to get a declaration of war from France and England. So he was not the one who started the war. How crazy is that? Everybody talks about how Hitler was a bad guy, but maybe he was provoked by France and England. Because we all know the death camps were intensified during the war. In fact, maybe he couldn't have killed all those Jews if there wasn't a war going on. The confusion between judgment of fact and judgment of value occurs at the level of these qualifications.